Sup guys, it's Constricta, and today we're going to be making a square 4 style bass in Serum 2. This sound is heavily inspired by artists like Infekt, Samplifire, and Murda. This is what I'll be creating today. As a bonus, I'll also show you how to make this massive sustain. If you want to learn how to create sounds inspired by your favorite artists, consider subscribing to the channel. Today we won't be using the malstrom wavetable, so while this might not be an exact square 4 patch, it sounds pretty close. Keep in mind the way a sound design might be different from someone else's workflow, and that's totally fine. That said, I think the final result turned out solid and still hits hard. Let's get started. First, we're going to choose one of the new wavetables called Dying Square. Turn it down by 3 octaves, and then lower the random to 0. Let's make our first LFO, which will be quite simple. Raise the wavetable position to about 100, and then let's drag alpha 1 onto it. Put this to about 7% for some subtle movement. Lower the level knob and then drag alpha 1. Let's slightly lower the volume so we could have space for the second wavetable. Now I'm going to introduce a new layer to add more grit and texture to our sound. I'll go with the Oh Yeah wavetable under the vowel section. Turn down the octave and random. Let's move to alpha 2 and then create some more points. Let's drag this onto the wavetable position. Change the rate to half. Turn on the warp mode and then let's use the same LFO. I'll choose ASIM plus for this one. Now I'll use alpha 1 to modulate the level knob. Go back to alpha 2 and set it to envelope. I'm going to create a loopback point in the middle here. This will play the initial part of the LFO and then repeat from this point. We could add noise to the patch to bring in extra texture. Let's use LFO 1. Don't forget to change this to direct. Now for some filtering, go for a simple high pass filter. Make sure both A and B oscillators are selected so they're affected. Let's modulate the cutoff slightly using alpha 1. Now I'm going to create a new LFO, which will be used to slightly modulate the pitch. Change the rate to half. Now let's move to the matrix tab and then find an empty slot. Change the source to alpha 3. For the destination, go to global and then main tuning. Set the slider to about 10% and then click the arrow once. Now go back to alpha 3 and then change it to envelope. I'm going to create another loopback point in the middle right here. Now we can move to the FX section. First, I'm going to add a convolver. Let's go to short and then wide vocal. This is going to give the sound a stereo widening effect. Let's use alpha 1 on this mix. Now we can add distortion. Let's go with diode 2. Fully raise the drive and then let's drag alpha 1 onto the mix. Set this to about 70%. Now the most important part is the filter. For this, let's go with Combs HL6-. Adjust the cutoff to about 110 Hz. Now I'm going to use alpha 2 to modulate this slightly. Let's try 30% for this. Now let's adjust the resonance. Now let's raise the HL width knob till it sounds good. Why don't we add another LFO which also modulates this cutoff knob? I want this one to trigger at the end of the sequence. So let's change the rate to a bar for this one. Drag this LFO onto the cutoff and then let's see how 12% sounds. Okay, so far so good. Now we can compress the sound. You already know we're going to use 3 OTTs stacked for that extra punch. Raise the gain until the sound hits hard, but is still clean. To finish off this effects chain, let's add an EQ and then slightly raise the high end. Now we can move on to the sustain. This one's going to be super simple since we already made the first patch. Go ahead and duplicate the Serum patch. For alpha 1, let's make the top flat like this and then change it to envelope. For alpha 2, we could remove the loopback point. Let's set the rate to a quarter as well. On alpha 3, we'll do the same. And for the final LFO, you could disable it or just lower the shape. And that wraps up this tutorial. I'm happy with how the sounds turn out, and of course you could tweak and customize them to your liking. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to drop a like and consider subscribing for more sound design tutorials. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.